Holy shit.
Okay, we'll say the prayer on page number 10.
نخش شقدك نخش شقدك
Um, page number 10, we'll say in Tibetan 2 times each verse. And afterward, we'll say in English 1 time. In English, on page number 11. I take refuge in the Guru. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from your goodness. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, purify as attachment and this ground now joined with you, strewn with flowers, mountain mirror, encircled by the four mountains, surrounded by the sun and the moon. I visualize this Buddha field and all living. All living beings enjoy the pure.
참말로 참 delicious.
Good morning to you all. Thank you for coming.
근데 대랑 다 당봉 학생 아주 잘리스
So first thing we're going to do this morning is we're going to recite in the Om Mani Padme Hum and meditate on Buddha of compassion.
어때서다 가정만 시도 하고 그러네. 잘리스그지나 형지기랑스기다 하셔와지래. 따따당이드나 근다는데 그 샤치샤지와 대동사동전동 보여를 뒤나네. 당하고도 내급도 범죄때 단단된 나오데. 잘리스 샤지와 되는지.
So yes, our object of meditation is a Buddha of compassion. The way he manifested in this case is like the image which in front of me, as you can see, that's one-faced, four-armed Avalokiteshvara, and in general, there are many forms of Avalokiteshvara and many different forms. But today, the particular one is the one I have here, the one-faced, four-armed.
근데 뭐빠 지사 이용으로 되랑 근데 잔디스 그 다른 semna sau sharajine majivajine mani dongenare and ngodin don't be o mani panu se datarang mupachine gomjakana chapriwa maris.
Again, when we practice meditation, we have to have the object of meditation, and then that object of meditation in this case it can be the image of the sacred image of Buddha of compassion, also can be the sacred mantra Om Mani Padme Hum. There's no difference between either one.
Sebji mupase da kawanro. Tela tene any tramba se tapanro. Tapate karzin tramba torong tambo hako yu mupate any kang la mupajokuna tepatela sem ne majiwa tramba chini. tamla tagju te semki langbo jin dang ju sem te tela nibo sem ni majlo chawa chamba te karzna sau tang tembo ji tela ne chi nga ju na tuwa tang chi wi sum chombai na ne chuno ti cho kama khashi rang na be cho rang bo gon na lamsong kama khashi no man ro shar kamar o tende tang ni wa dam bi gon eli sum se chi chan de ngo ma yin si
So here is the analogy, and when you practice this meditation, you have to remember, first of all, think about your mind, general. Okay, your general conditions of your mind is like that of a wild elephant, right? Was roaming around, right? And subjugated. And then that is our mind, conditions of our mind. And then be mindful is the quality or is the technique that we're going to They put this wild, undammed mind, the conditioned mind, into the way which is something become serviceable and become serve our own interest. So that requires to be mindful all the time, or being a recollective all the time. This recollectiveness or the mindfulness is resembled by the rope, right? And so here you have the elephant, which is the general conditions of your mind, wild in a wild or scattered all the place all over. And you have the technique of mindfulness, which is help you like the rope, and then the meditation, the object of meditation or meditation itself, and is like a pillar, okay? The pillar where or post. You're going to bring this wild elephant and with the rope of mindfulness, and then lock up him onto this post or the pillar of the meditation. And so while you were doing that, I mean, the result of your practice, so what you can get is that and you will experience your mind no longer as a kind of wandering around and being aimless and bored and even troubled, but rather you find your mind is now have such a great clarity. Your experience of your mind is not all over the place, but rather is with a great clarity and stability and full of energy. And so if you reach this point of your meditation, and then even you stayed in the state of meditation for a long time, and as far as the time is concerned, because it's so enjoyable, and you will find that even you stay there for a long time, it just feels like to you that you felt like you only stayed there for a few minutes.
무비일 잔리즈도 싸우 샤라당 싸우 요바트 따가나 센트 담보지 담보 요아들 좋았던 지와 그래서 잡을 선준도 배 같이 모르지 같이 곰 가르잡나 무바이 잔리즈만 가르 무바 가르잡게나 담보 무비도 싸우 샤르 그러지 싸우 샤리고니 마지와 진짜 저비 담보 좀네 좋아 그러지.
Okay. Yes, so here Avalokiteshvara is our post, or is the pillar, and we're going to bring our mind and all the mental forces and mind itself as a whole, and then by the means of mindfulness, and then put ourselves in the state of meditation. So yes, so throughout the entire process of meditation, you have to remember there's three things must be there. Number one, your object of meditation, which is Avalokiteshvara, has to be very clearly manifested, vividly, and appear to you. So that's the first thing. That's clarity. And then, the second thing is the stability. So once you have this sense of the Avalokiteshvara, the appearance of sacred appearance of Avalokiteshvara in your meditation, they needed to stabilize it, okay? Make it just firm and stable and still, okay? Still in the sense that it's stable. Okay? And then the third thing is that you have to feel that there's such a pleasantness and or delightfulness, fullness, is kind of sense of joy, and really motivates you and keep you doing this meditation. So be it be recollective on the object of meditation, and that means clarity, and then have the stability, and then be joyful, and those are the three things. Whichever, it doesn't matter what form of meditation you practice, you have to have those three qualities there.
Oh yeah, 네 디지털 방 많이 누구라.
Let's recite Om Mani Padme Hum.
70. This book. Ma Gyunji Ma Ki Kam Do Gar Do San Ji Ji Wa La Jin Ge Ji Shan Ji Lo La Zi Shan Ji Zi La Shan San Lu Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Om Mani Padme Mane Bono, Givandi, the Northern Rizon, Watch, John Mali, Sala Cooperson, Sijati down the Jijinga Rotam Jeto, the Tonga, Shansa, and Bakana, Shipateto, and Gimon, the Jiji, Shansa Central, Martio, Joanam, Kuni on the Power Show. Ya, 다 같은 거, 원 그때니 막 가정 아주 다 그 참들 막 동반이 곰 약당 안에 지금 시고 대자다 곰 그때니 막 배칭은 좀 곰도 싸우 곰 약당 싸우 지죠. 랍나삼 교수 신이 또 곰지나 맞나 다 당고 신이 당 상동도 뭐 신이 상동도 와라 티혼든 도와 아니 샘니 그 더 냠버 조알라 티 혼라테 parchi kar yun tela thinking kar go ne to chachong chi ngotu chi thwa na des ta nga zo kali gyam ni lum jinda ta ne yer jing bor song da ti nong ne do do len ji shu ji men de ta gwam ngu ne te o de shi thwa na chong zo ji pan to yor sa ta shin lab zin da sa ko pa shong ne ji shi li so su se nan zin ji zi chong song na de shin lab de ma to jamba yo mar chi.
Okay. I guess instead of we keep going and rush through, finish the textbook, rather, I guess at this point we should continue working on and the very subject matter of meditation. And remember, we talked about our ultimate goal or practice meditation is the meditation and meditate on the emptiness, the ultimate reality, or through the meditation to understand the ultimate reality, which is emptiness. But to achieve this goal, we have to lay the solid foundation. And that foundation is Shine in Tibetan, or calm abiding. And so we have to develop the clear understanding and then practice how to successfully and achieve the meditation of Shine, and then move on to practice the special insight of Haltong of Vipassana, because those are the fundamental practices. So therefore, the Shine, I'm going to continue working on with you. So how we develop the 9 stage, the Shine, by the means of the 9 stages of calm abiding meditation, and then to see how the union of how you can practice the Shine and the special insight as combined or in a single meditation. So to do that, we have to understand what is the possible obstacles and that might enhinder or hold you back, the setbacks, which it makes your meditation harder and to carry it out. And also at the same time, I'm going to show you what are the techniques or the tools and the tips that kind of would support you, or you needed to know, and to cope with the obstacles. Right. And so I guess this way, our this very the Sunday Dharma class would be fruitful, would be meaningful, because after all, if you learn all these techniques, and then you know how to meditate yourself, and then you can able to get something which we call the blessing, or be blessed. And so whatever you can call it blessing, or you being blessed in this practice meditation, is that you have something now in your own very hands, and you can use it, and then you can then you see the transformations taking place within your the continuation of your consciousness or your mind. And so that's a very the transformation itself is the blessing or chenle in Tibetan.
아니 단디노 곰자니 곰 꼴찌다 사완로 차더래 꼴찌다 아니 베 진정보 곰망보 잡지 냠뇽요 그때들 르바로 망아조라 대자당이 차정도도 시트그만 되나 곰서트 양근지나 코롱 넘데오 진 은도 땅 때들라 은종 곰타올라 땅탐 지메 동라서 바테디 지라 셈낭 사우 셔러지니 셔주트 마질러지니 때tam비스 좋아당 지고 karma ticho rangbo maji ticho tongtong yangzi samlo tangore te gom tangbo yang keng teresi dan dinane ya gom tombu javdane ya na na kinkurla sopate de gom gina kar gom gurzen te hoptikala kinkur gom zsu hoptikala kinkur chatsang azu semna shart ko mar ina kinkur de gom zo be chi shago ju go ju ta tela chi gan 사치메농 거 kinkurla sopate be chene ene gola sopate 타브 나부치질라 소바티 단 에네 기고 파이 농라소나 파 장망부요 타 장르르르르데 고라진 자네 타마 조 사가리는데 스는가 서우션네티 사드 차정 사데 샤샤망부는 샤드고 말 디그지 샤리게 샤리 타우노 서우 샤르지니 아니 뭐 바체 직도 잡나 요거 그러지.
Okay. So to speak meditation in such a kind of public setting, and I admit that within the audience, and of course everybody's level of practice meditation and experiences of meditation is various. So therefore, let's say, just assuming you are the beginner, right, and you have a very little or have no experience with the meditation, then the way to start to train yourself in meditation practice is that probably, and one of the technique is breathe in, breathe out. Okay? That's the Hanapana in Pali or Sanskrit. So meaning that you focus on, you choosing the breath. Okay, your breath is the object of meditation, and then you focus on bring all your mindfulness, mind, and be mindful on that in and out, in, and natural process of breathing. Right, so breathe in and breathe out. So you focus on that, and then you can achieve the calm abiding, or you can start your meditation with this particular technique, Hanapana, or the breath meditation on the breath control. And then second, the choice. So there are many choices, but one of the examples is, for example, you like something that's very delightful and beautiful. Right, make you feel energetic and fully being engaged. The object of meditation could be a beautiful flower, okay, awesome flower, such as like lotus flower. So you can focus and pick up that very object of a lotus flower mentally, and then again focus on that. Put all your mental attentions, and into that very objects, right, and work on in the. And then with try to get continue on that very objective meditation, and by getting the qualities make that meditation marked by the qualities such as clarity and stability and the joyful. So that's what you do. And also another important advice for the beginners is that, when your technique is as simple as like the one the two I pointed out, but beside that, you have to remember, and then your meditation and should be
meditation. Then meditation.
In the past, something that's made it freeze is if you've been hooked into the Wi-Fi here before, you might want to turn off your Wi-Fi when you walk in because it can draw a little bit, like if it automatically, I don't know if anyone has, but
And maybe Tampa use the computer there.
I just turned mine off just to make sure I wasn't a problem.
And finally, yeah, you remember that. The entire settings of the mandala, and so how many the deities and the events, the things are appear in that very sacred object, the mandala itself, which is enlightened the states. And then finally is kind of zoomed in and then focus on the central deity, the yidam, or the principal deity, and then you began by meditate on his or her face, and then and then other features, and eventually the whole thing. So that's how you choosing and how you practice and the meditation in the case that you are advanced practitioner.
아니 아주 먹기 즉지라 파타이나 홉티컬라타나 온가 사정 통송세 통고르데 리 통통고 말 통고라 르비 14는 ning ozo mugil ke ta go ngoma tele mug pate ngomso sawo 통통와 노진 semgu 당보 검조 진골 공부는 홉티컬라 지고 탈메 직샤르 진데 르비 소소고 mugib든 ngoma tiganla jane gomna ya yoresra
ngoma
something mugte zojora zogang ba tong diganla sem sawo chatbna ta pene chungor cha ta chat고 mara 르비 ngazo 먹고 홉티컬라 타나 파 통드게 탈메 차정 통고르데 디능데 레리레리 따나마도 14보 리 통통고 말 뜨능 14보도 원래 10도 솔로 진데 먹te 제직도 실라타나 사wo 통통분도 같이 차시리지 어떤 당신진이 검적당 다를 삼로당수 당보 샷제 수수 하가르 공부한 때 진고도 성공로서 뭐 차샤르지 때네 디능니다 소르비르비 땅 사보진니다 가정만 조르지가 좋았던 거 좋더래 그런 거 등알이 강한테 요령
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, so this in the simple put it simple, and the experiences we have in terms of how we usually identify the objects with our own very eyes. For example, so when we see and anything appear into our eyes, right? The sense of eyes, and so we get the kind of basic, rough, or general impression. Oh, we saw a shape, a color, something we can name after it, identify that's the thing, right? But that's very rough, or sort of basic in general, right? And you get the real, the whole thing as you believe or you feel you got it, and the reality is not. Why? Because each detail, right? You haven't really zoomed in. You only get the general appearance, and you had this impression of a whole thing. But as far as the details or the qualities of or the entirety of that object is concerned, and in our day-to-day life, and our sense of our eyes, the sense of eyes, and not necessarily pick up the detail, work on the detail. So to get the detail and know the whole thing as they are, then you have to not stop at just content with the impression, or and stop with just what you have seen at a glance, right? Rather, you need to say, oh, this is the thing I saw, so what's going on? Then you need to go work on the detail. So more detail, more closely looking, more you are kind of examining, right? You are more closely identifying, and then the closer you goes, and then more details and reveals and appears. So then you can really get the clear sense of and true knowledge about the object of that thing you claim you saw it. Similarly, like for those of you advanced practitioner who choosing to practice the yidam or the mandala, and at the beginning, yes, you need to just get the basic structural and the sense of what's going on in the sacred objects, right? And so here you are not using the physical organ as eyes, you are looking, but you are using the internal, the mental, the eyes. So you focus on your object of meditation, which is again is a mandala. So the way you look in and is so first, yeah, the get the general impression, and so get the whole idea and kind of a basic or rough structural understanding. Then your main focus, right, is the central figure, that is the principal deity, the yidam. Then you need to meditate on him or her and get it to be more precisely, or get the what is it and the actual the actuality of the central figure, or the center of the your meditation.
어때랑 아니 곰자라 니와가 세 등으로 지인수.
So I guess today I would like to introduce to you the 5 false problems of the meditation.
당보 때라 레루 세 들스. 레루.
First false problem is the laziness.
니와 때라 당 제바 쟁이 세 들스. 하고 제로 되죠.
Second is, you can say, forgetfulness, meaning that you forgot the instructions.
니와 때네 성화동 고반이 때. 선바데.
So the third problem is laxity and excitement.
저와 때네 소소 곰자이 곰도 삼마 양로나 어따 삼 양로고 때라 삼로 마땅하지 홀로 지단 덤시와 세트레스.
So the fourth is not being recollective or withdrawn.
ngawa 때네 셈 홀로 지네 곰라 세치 네 다우용 때라페 치동로 지네 저 가르칭도 세 존동로 지네 피셈 쪼로데 ndshiwa 드레스.
The fifth is overly withdrawn or excessively being interference or being interrupting, meaning that you already in a good, very stable state of the single pointedness, but somehow you had a thought that you want to investigate and you want to check to see whether it is how well you're doing, and so that is overly and kind of overdone.
다 레루 세테라 some number some yours.
So speak of laziness, we have to know there are 3 forms of laziness.
당보 때데 ngeta jongo mare ngeta ko mare nge jongo mare set teres ronil niwili lo set sosoroni ronil tongzongchini nge wa mare set ta kong dodo ngomate ko jangwa doko omar tenda ta ngit ko mare se samno teres.
So first laziness is the laziness of the incompetency or apathy, I guess, apathy meaning that you sort of look down on yourself. You underestimate your ability, and so you say, "Oh, I can do that. It is not for me."
근데 니와텔라 따때 야고도 지다고 그러다 때랑 공문도 다 상인지고 상인 낭인지고 바 시쇼길레로 바 yap시 땅네 따뜻이 사람으로 되듯이.
The second laziness is the laziness of procrastination. Procrastination is in the sense that so you kind of very clear about the qualities of meditation and the great outcomes of meditation. Say, oh yes, the practice meditation is excellent, it's awesome. However, I'm busy today, so I'll do later. And you postpone, you push you didn't take the chance, and but you put it away. That is procrastination, and it's a second form of laziness.
선바데 샤왕한 신기레로즈니 다시 소소 샤와지 톱중직이나 고민적은 무엇하면서 다다띠용 마송 샤와 레가 잠바지라 같이네 애니 양 람성 고민 양도 된 레가 하만 하가도즈 삼로 잠바즈 강라 주니 레가 텔레샤네야 테페자네 티쇼라 파 콜로드레스 삼 양도 리슴 정말 양도 리치고 양도 섬 양도 리슴가 양도 때용 된자 다 도동 소중인 날이 고민에 고츠면 잠바즈 때니 샤왕한 신딜 잠바즈 때니 티쇼텔라 파 쇼로드.
And the third one is attachment to bad activity or attachment to inferior or meaningless activity. Here's let's say the bad attachment to the bad activity or the inferior or less meaningless activity means that you already set up your time, you made a plan, and you get ready to practice meditation. You know that meditation practice is awesome, it has a wonderful qualities. But as soon as you started, and then you have this thought, say, oh, and there are some other things more important than this one, and I better taking care of that thing first. So then you got distracted, and then instead of focus on carry on your plan of meditation as you prepared yourself, and so now you completely change your plan and doing something which is compared to that really very practice of meditation. And then you know for sure that's the wonderful thing, has an awesome outcome and very beneficial. So that activity, we call it the bad attachment to bad activity or meaningless activity or inferior activities. This is this can be true for both spiritual practitioners such as us, who are who has great interest and want to practice meditation and want to do it very successfully. It also can be true to those students or the academics and academia and the people who are undertaking some kind of trainings or academic program. And so you knew the same thing, idea same. You knew the qualities of this your practice. You know the importance of your practices and of your complete your program, your learning, your studies. But as soon as you started, and then you somehow say, "Oh, I better finish that. I better do this instead." And then you change your plan, and then you began to do something that's kind of easier, and or that's makes you feel more fun and sound more exciting. So that's change of the mind, and instead of focus on what you have set up initially, and then move and doing something else, put your time and energy doing something else. That is the laziness of attachment to the bad activity.
어때 저다 레루 코르트상 같이도 말한 거 있는데 초라요래 냠용요라 네요 근데 시슈고 레루가 망보요래 어다 선이지고 너니지고 근데 니지 다다다다 장네 어다 탈심바 지고 진짜 티 어다 대랑다 진짜 내가 망보지 콩마송다 선이지고 근데 자 아니 거지 아니 소소고 장니 용삼로 당니 용소 람송데 잠바지다 카프라 용진로 인터넷 중고지로 디난로서 엔티 니와지 레와지 애니가 같은 로이나 지 장고이 티초다 다다 장마토지 티초도 쇼로 티초도 쇼소나 양지 티초도 용아요 말다 티초도 설리 콤바레 고대 장아노도 등아는 그 냠용군의 시기요라 견저도 알아요라 진짜 이 냠용고 주시고 디나 사업벌때 고음장근제 아니 지 사업벌때 소중징근 법득소 티초 콜았던 양마 티초 소수 티초 때네 꼬르치 좀 파마근 로송땅네 무망부 전니텔라 소중자야 같은 요저고요. 때 소수 마당 티초 톨라로도 무 톨라 티초 톨라 소수 뭐시 톨라 그래서 때저때 배 담진지 요까 쳔보래. 아니 고음장근소이나 알아도 단단 멀리 지는 뭐지 톱때네 암족구나 치지고 고요때 삼로동한테 하고 한테 냠는 지터한테 티초 담진지 냠는 지는 아주 같이 직든들이 카트를 하고 말 직든들 카트에서도 리당 농수 타지 자는 거 디치나 소소소소 소소르 정치 니와 소놈지 소소소 냠티 요래 뜻이고 에텔 받지 탔나 자꾸 요래 생기 뜻이고 당하는 게 냠용도 나랑 라디나 요래지.
Well, let's go back and work on this three laziness with some let's say the details. The first the laziness yes and so laziness of, let's say, the procrastination, right? And I personally know this how the laziness of procrastination affect me, and I can tell you from my feelings, right? And also I can tell you I have plenty experiences of this obstacle, the laziness of procrastination. And this is it happens to me, like for example, I needed to complete my sessions of meditation or the process of my recitation and or completed my ritualistic and meditative practice. But while I was doing that, and then somehow, and either I would say, "Oh, looks like today's not the best day," and I haven't done that, and I haven't finished this. And, so there are this and that is still waiting for me to complete, for me to finish it or reply, answer or whatever. For example, like answer the phone calls or check on something online, and so you name it. So the things and the events just taking taking place, and right after you decided you want to continue, or while you were continuing your meditation. There's thoughts and occur, and it just won't take you away, or sort of suggest to you that you should do that tomorrow, or you better do that tomorrow, or you have tomorrow, you can do it, right? And so you don't need to basically worry about it, and you don't need to do right way today in this very moment, which is clearly the sign of the procrastination. Why? Because when you say, "Oh, you've heard the noise," it says, "Oh, you have tomorrow. You can do that tomorrow. Or you better do tomorrow," and what it really suggests to you is that give up, right? Not doing the meditation right away, and in my case, it's not a complete or started my ritualistic meditative practice right away, but rather say pushed it and some other time. So if I of course I have plenty of experiences. I did it, then that means I listened to this kind of suggestion that the voice which wanted me to postpone it, then what I lose is I lose the great precious thing that's called the time. We know time is much more valuable than the gold, right? It's precious than gold. So this is, of course, I know this mistake. I know this is false, and this problem, and my own experience from my own experience. I'm not just simply say, you know, this is the thing. You better be careful. You have to know. Actually, I myself is no exception, and is a victim of the laziness of procrastination. So, and this is also, as I said earlier, is true for those who are working on the academic program or academic, let's say, some kind of degree. And suppose you are in the college, right? And now, your main focus is your day-to-day readings, writings, and your academic work, right? And you are there, and it's not for free. So lots of you, and you get the loan, or your parents paid for you.
It's
right?
11 o'clock.
So then your money is you are there and you can do it is because they in any case that is costing. It's very costly. So it costs something. And but here, if you say, oh, I read this or I write that, and the next day or tomorrow or next other week or sometimes later on, if you put this in the other time, you are simply not only a waste of your time, you're a waste of the precious resources either provided by your parents, or you took a student loan, or somebody else is the funding you. So in any case, that's quite a very bad thing for you to waste of your money and the waste of your time in a college or the academic settings. Here, okay, let's put it back, bring back back to our own situation. And so we are here and consider ourselves as seekers of spirituality, and I want to practice meditation, the techniques of meditation, and to achieve our spiritual goal. And so what we need to remind ourselves is when we we have to practice meditation, and we wanted to practice meditation. So therefore, we must, from time to time, remind ourselves the human life here on planet Earth is very short. Okay, and each of us individually here and has only a certain period of years or time on the planet Earth, and so the opportunities or the length of the time and the chances or you can use your physical body, right, is also very limited, right? The form of body you achieved or you received now, you possess it now is, as we call the precious human rebirth, right? So meaning it's something is very precious, priceless. So what are you going to do with this precious, priceless this thing is to put it into the spiritual practice, right? So this practice will and that will make differences. So, but if you forgot, then how precious this human rebirths are, and the rich resources you have, and the excellent opportunities you have obtained, you possess it, and then sooner or later, if you just postpone it, right, and keep procrastinating, and pretty soon you have to leave this world, meaning you have to put your body behind you on the planet Earth and go to somewhere else. And then when you reach that point of the death, it doesn't matter what are great names and you have been established, or how much monies you have been accumulated, and all these material things, none of the single thing you can take it with you, but you have to leave alone. So the way you live is the qualities of spirituality, your enlightened qualities, and anything you put into the Dharma practice, that will survive, and that will go with you. So therefore, and yes, be mindful about the rare, wonderful, and precious opportunities you have, and not be waste of it by the laziness of procrastination. And for us, for the spiritual practitioner, is really crucial.
다 레로 그 인자 레로 때 님보 가려요르나 레로 님보 때라 지요르란데 시겔즈네 레로 님보 때라 지데네 당보데 타파 니와데 담바 지와데 존지 선바데 존지 지와데 신장즈네 지드레스
我的这个阶级送送，跟如果阶级是我。
다시 예템 바진 따때 님보 예요르모 당 레로 곰 야와라 파치 징근네 응아셰 송아 나가는 데라 아니 님보 예요르 님보 예기는 지드 레로 님보 잠바 리리리리
Oh yeah. Okay. So yes, we have learned about those three actually, four lazinesses, and so laziness of course is a problem, but then the question is how we fix this problem, how we find a way to overcome this problem, right? To overcome the laziness, and there are four antidotes we can apply. So four antidotes is the faith, the 대바지 존재지 신장이 니와딩이 이제 하고는
담바
담바
담바 담바니 로요르 담바지 당 일초도 저와질라 도바즈나 담바 다티 차브르 그냥 데시장 뭐 담바 니와데
there's four techniques, four antidotes, and which can help us to overcome the problems of laziness. First is faith, the faith, and you can say the devotion, faith or devotion. And the second is aspiration, and the third is perseverance. And last is pliancy. And so there, remember that we said there's 5 obstacles, right? And when you practice meditation, and so you have to deal with them. And those 5 problems of meditation, each of them has the direct the antidotes and can help you to overcome. So let's say the faith or devotion. Within the faith, and there are 3 faith can be divided into 3. There are 3 forms of faith.
당보텔라 이치위 따바 당위 따바 원톨기 따바 쓰면 그렇지.
So the first is the faith of the trustness, or faith of the belief in, and the second is the faith of pure the pure and delightedness, or some kind of the pure sincerity, and then the third is the faith of obtaining or faith of aspiration, meaning that you have a deep faith and you can achieve it.
다 이치기 다바세데 코 셈땅네 오데 모니터네 제사데 이치 다바키 니오르 럼보땅 오 루파 nom보니기 이치 다바치땅 노아레 루파 옹부 nom보데 루피 딱세땅네 소수고 파식시 지부만요 소수고 셈비나나 딱세 타가잖네 오다데 레즈네 데 타지 이치차데 럼보세 데스 지다 루파 nom보 맹거조 다 미치게 세존 텔리 지슨당네 다데 요르 이치차 니 용거잖아. 다 공업도 땅 농보 땅즈네. 니 타바치 땅들 니 용도 보고 타바치 땅 농보 공 타바치 시타바치 나 만다버리지.
So let's say the first is the faith of the trust or trustness or faith of believe in. So how to develop the faith of belief or trust? The trust of the qualities then that you're going to achieve is this. There are two again. You can there's two ways you can develop it, or there's two forms of individual persons who can develop this first faith, the faith of the trustness, the faith of the devotion. And suppose an individual and who are comparatively speaking, is not a sharp. Okay, it's not absolutely sharp, and then he or she would prefer to listen to someone and or rely on someone and then place the hopes and faith into someone and instruction as someone, and then follow that person's instruction, and then develop and then develop, like in this case is meditation, right? And become a great meditator. And the second individual is the individual who is intellectually highly advanced or very sharp. So for those sharp and advanced intellectually advanced individual, and they would not do the same thing like those who develop the faith by the means of to trust someone's instruction. Rather, they will upon hear the teachings and instruction, and they will examine the validity, the qualities, and of that very instruction, or the soundness of that very instruction, the teaching, and then once they developed it and they reached the conclusion and of see the qualities of the instruction, then they will stick on to that, and that is how the sharp or the highly advanced intelligent individual would develop the first faith, the faith of the trustness or devotion.
괜찮다 아니 이치기 다봤던 뭐 연났더니 랑진 그 땅위 다봤더 랑진 좀 파쇼들 이치we ngorso 하버더 옹 논보 이치 땅때는 그 임천지 통이고 니콜라 이치용 거 이치용도 임천 통주고 때는 코답에나 경고를 붙이려도 비는 거나 미고지 경고를 붙이 삽cap시 배역으로 써야지마도 가르치니 경고를 붙이 약으로 그 다봤지기는 쉐기면 거줄다 들는 못 다봐와 경고를 붙이 아 이치지요 임천들이 그래서 송들이 요를 들 샬리들이 나고들이 진짜 아 이치기요 디티나 아니 텔라테니 가서 샘당에 가와기어죠 그래서 배역을 선네 tel tangwi tapa semdang ne okola irang tang rigu ni gawaki wajur tel tangwi tapa se kursi.
The second how to develop the second faith, the faith of purely delightful or a sincerity, sincerely being delighted. So this faith of being delighted and or sincerity with a great delightedness is something that's very pure and which is can be easily developed once you have the faith of trustness or faith of believing in. Why? Because once you have this faith of the trust, then you will immediately have this have that the strong kind of a joyful the mind, and you become very happy, and it becomes something is very delighted. Is, oh, I can do it. It's such an awesome, wonderful thing, and so therefore you could you will develop this the second faith and the pure sincerity and with the delightedness. Let's say again, there's two individual. Okay, generally speaking, if those in the context of His Holiness Dalai Lama, so we all know His Holiness Dalai Lama, and if you bring the His Holiness Dalai Lama into this very conversation about the faith you have in him, right? So for the individual who are not interested to think, or they are, let's say, intelligently, as far as the intelligence or the faculties of their mind, comparatively speaking, is kind of slow or is not highly advanced. And for those individuals, they appreciate His Holiness Dalai Lama. They say they have faith in Dalai Lama. They believe in Dalai Lama, and they have this great sense of joyful. Feels very joyful, great about it. And they have His Holiness Dalai Lama as their teacher or their spiritual mentor. But when you ask those individuals, and why you have such a faith in His Holiness Dalai Lama, and why you are so delighted that you have him in your life, and that individual might say, I don't know, I just feel, and so that is for those individuals. Yes, they have the faith and the faith of the trust. They have the faith of purely being delighted or sincerely joyful, feel great about, but they have no reason to support their faith in His Holiness Dalai Lama, right? And it is unlike this type of people, those sharp individual and or intellectually highly advanced individual, and they will examine, they will study, analysis, and observing and His Holiness the qualities from various perspectives, and then finally they will draw the conclusion. Then they will have this two faiths, like the faiths of trustness and faith of the purely being delightful. For those individuals, if you ask why you have faith in His Holiness Dalai Lama, why you feel such a being empowered, right, and and delighted to have him in your life, and those sharp individual would say, yes, I have such a faith in him because I know his knowledge and his wisdom, his compassion, his compassionate deeds, and so on and so forth. He will give you all the reasons, and then from there, this individual and yes, they tell you why they have this strong faith of trustness and the faith of delightfulness. especially like they just have this strong sense of based on reason, the really evidence-based and the reasons, and then they rejoice what His Holiness the Dalai Lama do, and they trust in his instruction.
그래서 다 다바슴기는 타마들 다 곰버 토비 다바 때까지 뭐 강저 다 땅보 닐기 동마 땅나 곰로지기나 그런 곰 잡나 파인가를 왔다 하고 근데 섬 담보니 터나 아니 샤와강당가 라드비 용토와 서위차 서오요나 아니 강당강다 징님에 봐 니트와 아니 들리지나 샤와랍칭가르지나 제타와 곰 파인로 자동 샘나 이치와 땅 때라 곰이 혼도 그서 땅와 니가 요나 근데 곰버 토비 다바제 어다 갈라티 토고 근데 네 곰잡니 나도 몬트 지토고 근데 세대 땅 곰버 토비 다바제 다 곰버 소소로 톰도지 담바지 온 거스 딜랑 몬토지 다바세 거스.
Okay. So now the third faith, this is critical. It's very critical, because so here is the thing. You up onto based on your research, your learnings, your contemplations, your critical exams and analysis of exams and observations and so on and so forth. Long time research study, right? Now you reach the point where you have no doubt about the benefits, the excellent qualities of meditation. Let's say just focus on meditation, and you know how wonderful the meditation practice is, and how beneficial in this life, the skills of life, right, and our spiritual and spiritual and techniques are. So you have a faith, and also you see the benefits. You have a faith, and then so this faith will make your believe in this quality and believe in this technique strong and stable. Okay, so you see the quality, and you have very strong and stable mind and about the meditation and the qualities, benefits of meditation, right? And then you have the understanding or experiences of clarity. And you know this meditation is give you a specific, practical quality, and one of them is the three of them that will give you. Your practice of meditation will give you the three specific, practical quality, and that the first is clarity. Clarity is through the meditation, your mind becomes much clearer. And you can see the things, you can be more sensitive towards and anything that's engaging in anything that's interacting with anything or encountering anything. So you get this clear sense of it. The clarity is there, much more clear and much more comprehensive. Right, that's clarity that meditation would give to you. This is practical quality, right, and great benefits. And secondly, your meditation will support you always be mindful and to counteracting the forgetfulness, right? So you know that. The forgetfulness and is such a destructive and devastating and damaging negative thing. But meditation can help you to overcome this problem of being forgetful. So, and then another thing is that yes, you have this stable, okay. So you have clarity, and now you have the stability. So once you your meditation would help you to become focused on that meditation. It doesn't matter whatever you're doing. Yeah. So your mind is clearly focused on the objects, right? And then the last quality is you are delighted about what you are doing. Okay? So you're not you won't be distracted and to anything else, but focus on the task you are doing with great clarity and with great stability and being very delightful. So this is the faith of the faith of aspiration, or faith of aimed to achieve. Right? So this is critical. Is because you see the qualities now. You not just leave it as you upon what you have heard, right? Or you know, but rather this faith is the actual the engine that drives you towards the actual goal of that very quality. So therefore, yes, upon you develop the faith of trustness and the faith of the and delightfulness, of being delighted, sincerely delighted, and then you do have to develop the faith of aspiration, or faith of to obtaining or achieve the achievement.
다 인사다 담바 세트 초 ngombur토피 다파 요청나 랑징 담바 경고 오 따텔은 도핀 담바도 담바든 바투 등인 바투 지긴 신도바테리.
So the second is aspiration. Aspiration essentially is like you really motivated and wishing and have this strong intention to get what you believe is beneficial, wonderful. You wanted to achieve it. So that's the very mind is called the mind of aspiration, or the mind which basically is like based upon the third faith. You remember that the third faith is a faith of aspiration and of faith of to achieving, to manifesting, to actualize the quality of quality and to obtain the actual quality yourself. So that's the faith of the aspiration. Here, aspiration or wishing or aimed to achieve is that. So you have the faith, and now you are driven with that mind motivates you to obtain and to achieve what you aimed to what you aimed to achieve it.
단 넘바요는 넘바디 정이 개발라 좋아세 존지리 소소고 될라 다 맞추지 탑고 될라 때네 디 총대 가를리 가지고나 지알라 알와요 말했을 때 존지 세고르세.
So aspiration here and it's like an interest, okay? And you have a strong interest. You are so interested about it. You are so excited about it, and you feel so energetic and so much so kind of motivated. That's the aspiration. And once you have this a strong mind of and being inspired to truly wanted to, and the mind wanted to achieve it, then you can develop the third, the technique or the antidotes to cope with those 5 problems of meditation, obstacles of meditation, and this is the preservation. Perseverance. Perseverance is the joyful. And it's the mind which is dedicated and fully engaging into the process of the task you are doing. In this case of meditation, so you are in the practicing meditation, but the way you practice is with a greater perseverance. And the perseverance here in this particular case is you're doing that with a greater joy. right? And you're so interested and you're so delighted what you are doing. And that sense of delight, being delighted and strongly interested about, and will make you overcome problems of being bored and tired and feels the lack of motivation or and and that has no energy, but rather because you have this perseverance and joyful perseverance, so you actually don't experience and don't feel you are tired, and but you can keep going.
그 진짜 신장도 신도 장화선도 아주 쳤던 거리 공급 신의 신장도 세계 말은 이 신장세대 된디 곰게는 조지 망보 정도 정위 돕기 그런라 아니 상샤토요. 진짜다 아니 곰랍성 예치라 남지 된디 바주치는 곰용서 남성 이 삼바탄냠 때 샘샬레 디간 지금 오지 손나다 디간라 살레 네트와 템보치니 네트고 다 샘니기라 바로 바얀도 워티자 성인은 샘니고와 샤나트니 하고 그러시죠.
So the next is the pliancy. Pliancy is that again is the quality of the meditation, and you can experience both physically and mentally. So pliancy, by the very definition, is something that make you feel truly enjoyable and truly the spiritually very awe and or with a great the kind of amazement, and this the experiences of pliancy and in Tibetan called Xinjiang. This means that by being dedicated or engaged with a great assertion, right? And then you got so much so familiar with the very task and that you are trying to perfecting, right? And in this case, also, we talk about meditation, not other tasks, other worldly tasks. So let's say your task is a meditation, and so you go back to that very task repeatedly, right? And over and you do that over and over, and over the long period of time, you really get used to it. You really get knowing and the sets of technique that you are you try to perfect it, and then you reach the point where now you can and apply that very technique. In this case, is meditation anywhere, anytime, whenever you want it. So when that happens in your body and at the body and the mental level, both, you just feel such a great flexibility and such a great enjoyable and inexhaustible sort of the energy, and that occurred and it just naturally occurs. So then, one of the things is just you feel that your mind is you don't need to really make a great effort, right? And whenever you just have the thought about your meditation, the technique that you are trying to mastering or you try to perfecting, and that immediately triggers or immediately kind of make it immediately become something manifested or revealed to you, and as very forcefully. So that very forceful experience is at a mental level, and you experience this such a great focused mind, and with great clarity and the stability. So then, of course, the body and the mind both are experiencing something that's spiritually and with a great unique and in a great unique way. Of course, we're going to talk about this when we go step by step, those 9 stages of meditation, and we'll work on more details later on.
근데 뒤쪽 조송스 다 지마가 자니마라 진짜 요 말때 내가 랑종 단다 담바 쇼즈 파르게 타교 대신에 좀 정말 랑종 제고지 지마가 자니마라 때문에 아주 러블로 당고스
It shows the day,
다다 semni고가 그때 몸자가
예.
배차도 쇼
예.
초ton이 잡았죠.
Yeah. Okay. So next weekend and Sunday we will not have a class. And by the way, so we're running out of time today, and just let's end our today's class here. But next week we don't have a Sunday. We will have no class. However, I do have a homework for you. And here in the Bomba, we have this print out the 9 stages of meditation, and your homework goes over each stage and give it a try and develop some questions. We come back in the following week, and then we work on each detail.
Thank you, Geisha, Tempa, and Tenzin. I would like to make an announcement, Geisha just did, or Tenzin just did. Next week will be a retreat. Geisha will have a retreat of the Buddha of Compassion, Chenring Singh. So there won't be a class. If anyone would like to join this retreat and is able to pay, we have an anonymous sponsor. So please call the center at 812-336-6807, or you can email the center at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com. Those of you who would like to make a donation for this teaching, it would be greatly appreciated. And you can do that, as I said, by calling the center at 812-336-6807. And those of you in the temple who would like to make a donation, it would be greatly appreciated by the monks in the monastery. And I will pass around the bowl. All right, thank you. Pardon? Thank you. Retreat. What is it? Yes. If anyone would like to join the retreat, please let us know.
Closing prayer on page number 80. Nam Zhe Ya Vi Wang Bo Da Yi Ma Dong Bi Zi Ru Gen De Yang Jiang Bi Yang Yi Zi Yu Ji Zong Bi Dan Bi Ren Ba Gen San Nam Ji Shou Nie Ne Zhe Bi Ya Nam Ni Xi Shou Rang Ye Zhe Zhen Do Bi Lang Ye Zhang Zi Wei Zhang Wei Tang Wei Zhou Wei Ye Jie Men Ba Sa Xi Ya Wei Dang Ba Ye Rang Zi
Tambaran Chobe Majo Cha Nyambar Jervi Shode Nyanje Chembo Yoro Chobai Ande de Sover Shepherd Se je Yahweh Mo Shon La Zhou Xiang Qiu Nam Ji Ru Bi Zhang Tan Du Nan Ji Yu La Hu De Zhang Wen Za Ba Rong De Zhong Ji Lang Gong Zhe Bi Ten Zhen Zhu Xi Zhang Ga Jian Se Xi Mo Dong Mo Men Gen Ce Ru Gen De Yao Wei Ngo Ba Yi Nam Da Lam Dang Zhe Wer Ma Zhe Ji Se Ta Ba Zhou La Qi Zhou Zhen Ce Zhen Zhe La Zong Ba De Yi Te De Nam Ji Da De Zhou Xi Zhang Zha Xi Jiang Su Shou Gen Zhang Zhe Da so nian ge ban bi dang jin la ka zhen qian bo gong ni ji song de ge song de ji mi zhi za zi su zhe sen chou ren bo ji ma ji ba ne ji 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 jian wa niang ba me ber yong gong ni gong de pe wer shou gong zhe ra wei gu wei shang gen de pan dang de wa ma li zhong wei li zong dan zhe yang so yi sha bei sen de par de dan yi ji jiang bo ba wo zhe de tian ba dang跟的上波的样的人的，得到根基就是道路上也望得到他们自然的我，手臂要我他们之间，我刚刚说的我把的。他真给予撒网的根章，上不就是让的我儿子，让的中的担保单上也，但真就他们这根根上，立正跟老的这中为你，上的担保到的地界这。跟的叫我总刚比，当初新年我生着比的，要为我被浪上的年里，个是怎样都不马一人。